Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into the Big Friday Kickoff podcast. I'm your sports director, Emily Cochran. He's Robert Rustano. We are here to talk about the semifinals, which is like my favorite round when it comes to the postseason because we get to see some regular season rematches, which is why I think that makes this week so special.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, first and foremost, Emily, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving
to all of our listeners.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving to all of our viewers, listeners, however you're watching us, listening to us. I hope y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
You got any Thanksgiving traditions that you and your family always do or anything?
Not really. We just always go to my grandma's house, my mom's mom. Mm-hmm. We go to Nana's, and we cook and do, and kind of the same old. This year, my brother and his girlfriend, my middle brother, James, and his girlfriend are going to be up in Natchez doing Thanksgiving with her family, so that way they can do Christmas with us.
I know a girl who is from Natchez, and she's up there right now doing Thanksgiving, so that's kind of a small world.
It's a very small world.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacob's going to come home, my youngest brother. He's going to come home for Thanksgiving Day and hang out with his girlfriend. I think his girlfriend, his new girlfriend's going to come over and hang out with us, and then he's going to go back to Starkville for the Egg Bowl because
Lane Kiffin's last game.
Don't even get me started, Robert. Let's talk about high school football, not college. I've been in a depressed state for like.
Emily's been in a rough state of mind. We got a few Ole Miss fans around here, and they're just distraught. It's
yeah. He saw me have a meltdown last week when
yes,
I was in like the thick of all the Lane Kiffin drama, which is still drama now, but it's piped down just a little. But the last week I was really going through it. Robert came over to my desk and I was crying.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very invested in my college football team, but I'm even more invested in all these high school teams taking the field this week.
Great segue.
Thank you. I am so excited, like I said, for this round because we do have some regular season rematches. We also have some rematches from semifinals that took place last year. So a lot on the line this week, and we've got some great games. Let's start with our game of the week. I think it's probably one of the biggest games in the state. I think it's one of the biggest games, like, historically. I think this is going to be a jam-packed, action-packed,
no doubt,
a lot on the line, emotions high. Not a rivalry, because I've talked to some fans and they said it's not a rivalry. You want to let everybody know what our game of the week is?
Yeah, we got Vigor Williamson. I guess it's technically at Williamson, correct?
Technically, yes. Williamson is the home team, but it's going to be played at Lad People Stadium. The first time these two teams met during the regular season, it was also played at Lad People Stadium just based on capacity reasons. And it's going to be the same thing for this matchup. And I think there's going to be even more people. I think there was like 30,000 people in attendance the first time they met during the regular season.
Yep.
This is a semifinal playoff game between two teams that they're not rivals, but crosstown opponents, both in 5A.
Very passionate fan bases.
Yes.
And, you know, it could not come at a better timing with the holidays going on because you're going to have so many people coming in town. This is a perfect way to spend your post-Thanksgiving Friday, you know, go see Vigor and Williamson. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to do that.
I have a feeling that it's not just going to be Vigor and Williamson fans. Like, people are going to travel to come watch this game. I think it is going to be an absolute movie on turf grass. Do they have turf grass? I'm not sure. Anyways, it's going to be cinematic. Like, I think it's going to be an absolute masterpiece of a game. If you remember this game from the regular season, it went to overtime.
Yep.
And I love overtime drama.
Sure.
I just love when it's a nail biter or a barn burner, as Hustlin' Hal Sherrick says. And we could see that again this week. And if you remember that game, Vigor was the number one team in the state when they went head-to-head. And when Williamson beat Vigor in overtime, and the final in that one was like 22-14.
Yep.
I've been saying 19 this whole time.
Oh, really?
It's 22-14. But I just... That game is what secured Williamson the region championship, and that's the first time that they've been, and that's also the first time they've been the number one team in the state in program history.
Yep.
So that game was just like a huge turning point for both teams. We actually went out to Vigor last week for their quarterfinal matchup, and when we were talking to the players, they said that they feel like that's one they should have had. They feel like that's one they want back, and we talk about how extremely talented Williamson is, and they are absolutely one of the best defenses in the state across all classifications, D1 talent all over the roster, but we got to give Vigor their flowers. Vigor is a very, very talented team. There's a reason that game went into overtime. There's a reason it was close, and there's even more on the line this week. I have a feeling that this is, I don't even know how to put it into words how important of a game this is going to be for both programs.
Yeah, and you look at how these teams have played recently, even since they've been into the playoffs. I think both these teams are kind of are really at their peak right now. And that first game that was played at Ladd, as you mentioned, 22-14 in overtime. I think the offenses have gotten better for both these teams, while the defenses are two of the most talented units in the state, probably, with how much talent both these teams have on that side of the ball. But you look at Williamson since they've been into the playoffs. Really, really beating teams by running the ball. I mean, they ran 35 times against Eufaula, 41 times against Elmore County, 25 times last week against Montgomery Catholic. And Vigor has really found themselves throwing the ball. Like, I think Sammy Dunn's thrown for over 700 yards and 10 touchdowns just in these 3 playoff games. So I think, to me, it's really going to come down to which offense can break through and make a couple plays against the other team's defense. And, if you're Vigor, you're coming off this Central Clay County game where it's 14-0. You really kind of had to grind that game out.
They put a lot of pressure on Sammy in that game.
Yeah, and Williamson, they've kind of rolled in these first 3 games, and I don't know if that's a quality of opponent thing or if that's just this is how hot Williamson is. But Vigor just won a really tight, grinded out kind of game that I think is going to bode well in this matchup against Williamson.
I would say so too. I think that gave them a really good test going into this round to really gauge kind of where they're at, because Central Clay County is a very talented team. I mean, I was out there.
Yeah.
I shot that game. I mean, their head coach, Danny Horn, winningest head coach in Alabama high school football history.
Yep.
But that's the thing about Vigor. They weren't thinking about, we're going up against Danny Horn. We're going up against an 11-2 team that's, the Region 4 champions. They weren't thinking about that. When I was talking to head coach Renardo Jackson during Big Friday Kickoff on Friday, he said that the beautiful thing about the playoffs is records don't matter at this point, because you get into the postseason and you win, you're in, you're out, your journey's over. So all the records and what you did during the regular season really doesn't matter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's anybody's game when you get into the playoffs, and I just think that it's also very hard to beat a team twice.
Yes,
and we've seen that happen before. We've seen teams that have beaten teams twice. We've seen teams that haven't been able to do that. So I think this is going to be an interesting one. I think everything you want out of high school football, you are going to get in this game.
Yeah, and 2 quarterbacks that have been playing it at just a high level for most of the season. Playmakers all over the field. And I think both these defenses are going to show up, and it's going to come down to which offense can make more plays at the end of the day. So, who wins?
My mind was changed after watching, just talking to Vigor, talking to the players, talking to coach, and seeing them play Friday night. My mind changed. I think that I might pick Vigor to win in this one.
Going with the Wolves.
I've been Williamson all season long. I've been high on Williamson. I picked Williamson to beat Vigor in the regular season. I think that Vigor comes out with the win in this one. I really do. Just listening to the way that Sammy and Jabarius and Dylan Jackson, talking to them, it resonated with me.
Sure.
Our interview with them really resonated with me. That's a team that is extremely confident in their abilities, extremely confident in their talent. They don't seem to have any nerves. And they're also looking back at it as a revenge game, because Sammy said, that's one we should have had. That's one we want back. And I think that mentality, they will carry that into this game. Also, you're playing at Ladd in front of 30,000 people. It's probably going to be more this game, I would think. And the way everyone's talking about it, this is the biggest game in the state in quite some time, regardless of who wins or loses in this one, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It's a huge game, and no matter what, we're going to have a 5A team in the Super 7. So it's a win-win for us.
Sure.
It really is. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It is our Eastern Shore Toyota Game of the Week. Dacian Smith is going to be out there shooting all the highlights of that one, and we will have a kind of a preview, on Friday. It's Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. There's not a lot of people going to be working that day, but we are going to do our best to do some sort of streaming, like smaller edition of Big Friday Kickoff with me, Dacian, and Nick. So we're excited for that.
Yeah, no doubt. I think ultimately the way I've thought about these two teams all year is I think Williamson across the board has the most talent, I think Vigor may have the better top end talent, and I like how they've been playing lately, and they feel like a team that really took the loss in the regular season to Williamson and figured out how to use it to their advantage to make their team ultimately better. And so I think I'm kind of with you. As much as I would love to see Williamson, who has so much talent, I'd love to see them be able to go all the way and win the state championship in 5A. There's something about the way Vigor's playing right now that I think they're so locked in, and I think I'm going to pick Vigor too, but it's by a hair. When I tell you that I could easily see this one going into overtime, probably double overtime, this one is going to be played till the final seconds. Yeah. I think they're just they're so evenly matched. I know. I think Williamson might have the edge, just based on what they've done all season and what we've seen. I think defensively as well, but I don't know. I've had a tough time. I've gone back and forth with what I was. If you would have asked me, a few weeks back, and then also when I saw Vigor lose to Baker at the last game of the season. I know it's 5A, 7A, so it's different. But if you would have asked me around that point, towards the very end of the regular season, I would have said Williamson. Right. Every day, all day. But I don't know. Something about, like we said, something about what Vigor's been doing here in the postseason. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch Williamson too. That's the thing. I'm torn. Yep. Honestly, I'm genuinely torn, and I'm gonna be happy no matter what the result is, and my heart's also gonna break for the opposing team because there are Region 1 guys, and we love them to death. So. Well, hey, speaking of Region 1 guys, another class that we're guaranteed to get a team in is 4A with Jackson and St. Michael. This is the fourth meeting, essentially, between this version of Jackson and St. Michael. And, got to mention last week, Jackson sent my Bruton Eagles packing. W.S. Neal. It was a good season. They sent them packing, all right. Yeah. Did you see the final score? Yes, I did. They beat W.S. Neal 50-7. They hurt us. I'm telling you, Jackson hurt us. Ran the ball 36 times for 268 yards and 7 touchdowns. 11 different players got a carry. And St. Michael, conversely, also took care of business against Bullitt County, who was kind of the Cinderella down there in 4A. They beat them 52-22. As we know, St. Michael won the regular season meeting between these teams 49-39. Two of the best quarterbacks in the state in Gunnar Rivers and Landon Duckworth. Two of the best running backs in E.J. Crowell and Noah Moss. Receivers all over the field that are going to be playing at the next level. What you think about this one? We going to have a different outcome? I think this game will be even better than the first one was. Yeah. I really do, just because Noah Moss has done so well all season long, but his performance in the postseason, it's like he's turned it up to another level. Yeah. Same thing about EJ. And that's the thing. That is one thing that I'll say about Jackson is they are fueled by doubt. They're fueled by anyone that has any type of
bad talk to say. EJ in particular, like he's heard all the doubters because last week I think he scored 5 touchdowns.
4, I believe.
Was it 4? I asked him today and I thought he said 5.
Oh, it may.
I think remember he did the thing where he counted
yes,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think they've got their stuff wrong online.
Don't short my boy now.
Yeah,
he had 5.
no, I know.
I told him. So I actually got to go up to Jackson today and talk with Coach Flo and EJ for that matter. And I told EJ, I said, "Are you going to try and get 5 touchdowns again?" He said, "You want 5?" I said, "Hey." Yeah, give me 5.
Give me 6.
He said, "All right, I got you." And no, but I talked to Coach Flo, and he said that he was listening to a podcast. I think it's through the Alabama High School Football History website. Another group of guys that have a really
They do a very good job. I listen to them every week.
Informative podcast. And well, Coach Flo listens to you guys, and he said that they talked about Jackson as like. Jackson, when they're playing against their opponents, it's like playing with their food, and that's what they've been doing this season is playing with their food.
I do agree with that, to be fair. I mean, I think if you look at Jackson's games throughout the year, they haven't, like, really blown you away with any kind of numbers. I mean, there were games last year where, I mean, they were consistently in the 50s and 60s.
No, it was ridiculous.
And, this year it's, cracked 40 a few times, had a few 30-point games. But, yeah, I heard them say that on that podcast, and
so you listened this week.
I did, and I do agree with that. But this past week they showed this is what they can do when they want to.
Yeah, I think EJ Crowell had a bone to pick with anyone who had something to say about how well the WS Neal defense did against him. So if I had to pick right now, I think I would still pick St. Michael, and let me tell you why. I do think this is going to be a battle of the quarterbacks. It's going to be a battle of the run game because you got two of the, like you said, two of the top talented quarterbacks in the state, two of the top talented running backs in the state. I mean, Noah Moss just broke a state record for rushing yards in a single game in round 1. I mean, he had an incredible performance. And then you got EJ scoring 5 touchdowns last week. So I think that we're going to see a lot of that. I think this game will probably be a track meet, similar to how it was during the regular season.
No doubt.
I think Jackson also recently got back one of the Chapman brothers at receiver. He'd been out, I guess, been maybe a little banged up, a little injured. They've got him back. That makes a huge difference.
And I know their offensive line's gotten healthy lately. I think they were missing some of those guys throughout the year, and I think that they're kind of relatively healthy right now.
And Coach Flo even said, he said the guys are really locked in and getting hot at just the right point, and that this really is the point of the season when you want to be hot. Like if you want to be your hottest, you want to be when you're taking a playoff run.
Yeah.
And I also talked to Coach Flo about, like, okay, you're the reigning 4A state champion. I think that's what people forget. Like, we're all talking about St. Michael and the talent they have, but Jackson's the reigning 4A state champion. And if I went back and was watching the highlights tonight of that game, and all the kids that are had standout performances in that game, they're still on the roster.
I think actually they only lost. If I remember right, because I looked a bunch of this stuff up in the off season to do some preview stuff before the year started, and I believe they only lost like 3 starters between both sides of the ball. Like it is basically the same team, and
it is. And then other than like being banged up in the early part of the season, I mean, so they had some O-line injuries, and then they had one kid transfer I know of. But then
they brought in Anthony Hayes from Excel, though, who was a really good player last year at Excel, and I know he's been really good for them this year too. So I think. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. I mean, these are two offenses that I think are pretty locked in. And Noah Moss, I was just looking at it, trying to add up the totals. I think he has 13 touchdowns in 3 games so far in the playoffs.
Jeez Louise.
And he had 6 in that round 1 game that you mentioned against Pike County, but. They kind of did. St. Michael kind of did this a little bit last year. Noah Moss got really hot in the playoffs, and they kind of leaned on him because when you look at Gunner's numbers so far through these 3 games, 156 yards, 176, 175, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. I mean, this is a team that has become a running team, and they still have the ability to throw for 350, 400 yards if they need to.
Which is what I also think that makes St. Michael's so unique, and I think also what makes Phillip Rivers such a good coach, because I spoke to Noah during when we went out there for Big Friday Kickoff in the first round, and he said, yeah, you would think that this would be a pass-heavy offense because our head coach is he's on the ballot to, you know, it just came out that he's a semifinalist
for the Hall of Fame,
to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, a guy that is just a legend of a quarterback from down here. That's your head coach, and then his son is the gunslinger, you know, taking passes under center. So you would think, okay, they're going to be a pass heavy offense, but they don't. I feel like it's very evenly distributed. Like you said, they run the ball a lot too, and that's one thing you have to have in high school football. You have to be able to run the ball, and in college as well. But I feel like in high school, it's so important, your ability to run the ball, and I think that they just do it. Everything that they do on offense, they do it so well. They distribute it very evenly across all their weapons, because you got Brody Jones. That's Gunner's top receiver, like his top target. But then you also have Tucker Tomlinson, who is extremely talented and can make big plays when you need him, and then Noah Moss, of course. So, but the same thing with Jackson. I mean, they've got the Chapman brothers. They've got Juice, Isaiah Gladney. It's really, if you look at these teams on paper. And you look at it, okay, top quarterback, okay, weapons all over the field on offense, run game elite, this is another one that I think is going to be such a good game, and I also think it's going to be better because Jackson has gotten hot at just the right time, and St. Michael's just been rolling on. So this is another one that I think is going to be such a good game. I think that St. Michael is going to be absolutely packed. Jackson fans travel extremely well. You know that they're going to come down here for this because it's also a repeat of last year's semifinal. When Jackson won in that one. I think the final in that one was 49-28. And then Jackson moves on to the Super 7 and has a historic day. I mean, they broke 4 different records for
something like that.
Points scored, passing yards. It was insane. The final score in the Super 7 semifinal 4A game or final 4A game was 63 to I couldn't even tell you
69 to 6.
69 to 6. So you're looking at a Jackson team that did that also has a lot of the same pieces. I mean, they have the potential to go on and do that again, but then you've also got St. Michael that just turned it up to another gear this season. So, I mean, I have a really hard time picking in this one. If you put put my foot to the fire, put my feet to the fire, I would probably say St. Michael. But like I said, it's hard to beat a team twice, and you've played against each other right now, and you've got film playing against one another. That's a leg up. So it's interesting. It's going to be a good one. But if I had to pick right now, I'm probably picking St. Michael.
Yeah, it's just, and St. Michael's already beat them with this guy. But to me right now, it is so hard to pick against E.J. Crowell. I mean, he is so hard to tackle. It feels like every time he touches the ball, he's taking it to the house. Last week, 10 carries, 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's ridiculous, you know?
But you got Noah Moss, who's been doing a lot of the same thing,
he has. And I think I like, I don't know. I don't know.
I think the winner in this one is whoever has the ball last and scores last, because that's what this is going to come down to. I think it could be even closer than it was during the regular season. It's going to be very similar to the Vigor Williamson game, in my opinion. I think this one will be a lot more high scoring just based on the offenses, but another example of what's going to be just pure cinema on Friday night, and I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, I think I'm a slight lean. Boy. I think I'll zag on you here. I'll be a slight lean towards Jackson on this one.
Look, if they win, I won't be disappointed. I won't. I love both of these teams, their programs, their head coaches. I think they're great. Whoever wins in this game, I can't be sad. I do think it would be cool for St. Michael to get to have they've never had this experience before. Jackson, they got to do it last year. But I mean, it's just even more of when you're someone that you've held that trophy above your head. You've played in that game. You've gone up to Birmingham and had that experience. You're hungry for that again.
Oh, yeah.
But then you've got a St. Michael team that's never experienced that, and they want it so badly. So I don't think it's going to be a question of who wants it more. I think they both want it.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to come in for the halftime show at 8:30 and be like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
yeah.
then get to find out what the final is at the end of the night. It's going to be a good one. I'll be out there.
Yes.
I'm going to do some preview stuff.
Come say hey to Emily out there.
Yeah, I think Nick's actually going to come out there with me. It's just going to be the two of us. We're not going to have a full set and the whole elaborate thing because we are, it's day after Thanksgiving. We don't have a ton of people.
Right.
But I'm going to be out there and I'm going to shoot highlights of that game before I have to head to Bayside Academy. I'll be shooting 2 games on Friday. So, going to be doing my best. Hopefully
Yes.
Randy Lowe comes in clutch and helps me out because his son does go to St. Michael and hopefully he'll be there. But it's Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving. He's a dad, he's got 2 kids. If he doesn't, I'm not going to be upset if he doesn't.
Yeah. No.
But I'd appreciate the help.
Absolutely.
Love you, Randy.
Yes, we would. Yeah, we would absolutely take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on opposite sides of St. Michael Jackson-ish, I guess. Let's shoot back up to 6A real quick. Saraland taking on Benjamin Russell. Benjamin Russell, very similar to Saraland in some ways. I mean, Kingston Prayer, their quarterback, very, very talented. Sedarian Morgan, the receiver, committed to Alabama, much like Deshaun Spencer, 2 very talented receivers. I think this is going to be very similar to the Spain Park game for Saraland because that was also a very good quarterback they faced in that game. I believe his name is Brock Bradley, the Clemson commit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that game ended up being very close, for Spain Park. I think this is another very talented quarterback, very talented offense that can throw the ball. And I think this game could be a little bit of a back and forth between Saraland and Benjamin Russell, but it is very, very hard to pick against Saraland at home. So I think
they got their 40th win. They're still riding that streak. If they win this game, it's 41 straight at home.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a game at home since 2020.
And not only have they not lost a game, it feels like they blow everybody out. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm rolling with Saraland in this one, but I do think this will be an exciting game and will be really, really fun to watch.
I also think if Deshaun Spencer has another performance like he did last week, I saw the highlights in that one because they were on the road last week. You get Jameson Roberts and Deshaun Spencer on the same wave, like them doing their thing, and the plays that they make, it's not just like they're scoring touchdowns, it's the way they do it. It's beautiful to watch. Deshaun Spencer had a heck of a catch in the back of the end zone in that game last week. I remember watching the highlights in the studio while we're doing the show, and I'm watching it in real time, and I'm like, holy crap, check that out. They're just so talented, but I do think they are going to have their hands full with this Benjamin Russell team. They've also got B.J. Bedgood. He's another one of their big play threats. He's got 48 receptions, more than 800 yards, 10 touchdowns. So that's another name to keep an eye on out of Benjamin Russell. But the last time these two teams met, they haven't played since 2017 in the semifinals, and that's a game that Saraland won 35-7. So, and historically, when they've met, I think Saraland is up in the record historically. But yes, Saraland's undefeated, but Benjamin Russell hasn't lost a game since their season opener against Opelika.
Against a 7A team, basically.
A very talented 7A Opelika team. Is Opelika still?
Are they?
I think are they still in it?
Are they in the state championship in 7A?
Didn't they beat? They beat a team that I was like, holy crap, Opelika won.
Well, it would have been either. It would have been Auburn.
I think
they're in the state 7A state championship.
Exactly. Game, so you're looking at a Benjamin Russell team that lost to that Opelika team that's headed to the 7A state title game. So I think this is a game that Saraland cannot take lightly. No. I know we talk about it every week. Yes, Saraland's blowing people out. Yes, Saraland's so talented. Yes, absolutely, 100% they are. But I think of all their opponents that they faced so far, Benjamin Russell in particular is one that they should not get caught sleeping going into this game.
No, and I wouldn't expect them to. You know what I mean?
No.
Saraland seems really, really locked in right now. I was just looking at their playoff games so far. Jameson Roberts thrown for over 250 yards in all 3 games, 350 against Pike Road. But on the ground, they've ran it for 260 yards, 185 yards, and 261 for 12 total touchdowns. So like they've got their run game really complementing what Jamison Roberts doing, and he's a big part of that run game too. I mean, he's a very mobile quarterback.
I didn't realize how much Jamison was running the ball.
Yes.
I mean, 600 yards, 19 scores.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got over 2,800 yards and 32 touchdowns through the air. I just didn't realize how much he was actually using his legs.
Oh, yeah.
So he kind of looks like a little bit of a dual threat.
Yes, he is.
And that's something that I'm not seeing when I look at Kingston Pryor's at his stats. And
right.
You also look at their completion percentage. Jamison Roberts, the accuracy, like he's also very disciplined. He's completing 75% of his passes, where not a bad percentage for Pryor, but like 62% of his passes.
Right.
So if you're just comparing the numbers and looking at it that way, I think that's interesting. I'm also like, this is another thing I was thinking about. Obviously, that C.D. Morgan is an Alabama commit. I'm looking at Deshaun Spencer, and I'm like, you're still committed to Duke? Like just shocks me. Like he looks like an SEC talent.
He really does. Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like if he ends up at Duke and that's what he ultimately where he wants to be and that's where he thinks is best for his future, by all means, go right ahead.
Yep.
But if Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss and you would like to come join the Rebels offense, please, please, please come do it.
We'll be the John Summerall Rebels here pretty soon.
Which I'm fine with too.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about. Like he's at the top of my short list.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I mean, him or Arizona State's head coach.
Oh sure. Yeah, I can't. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Kenny Dillingham.
I think so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I've got a short list. I'm not gonna I'm gonna keep my cards close to my chest because he's not gone just yet. But if Lane decides to stay, Deshaun Spencer, I will send your tape to him. I've got some contacts up at Ole Miss. I will send your tape. I will tell him. Lane Kiffin.
I'm sure they are aware of you, Deshaun Spencer. But yeah, send your tape.
Well, they've got to be. I'm being silly. Of course, they've got to be. But I just I don't know. It just still surprised me that he's committed to Duke.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's always interesting with some of these kids, because I'm with you. I mean, he looks like an SEC.
Especially because I'm looking at the stats and I'm looking. Okay, C.D. Morgan's committed to Alabama. I'm looking at Deshaun's stats and I'm like.
Yeah.
Why aren't you committed to an SEC school?
Right.
Not that an SEC school is the end-all, be-all. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, Deshaun Spencer has the talent to go play anywhere he wants.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I think this is another one of those that's going to be a really, really good game. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a quarterback battle a bit. And then those receivers, I mean, both of those guys, big names, guys to watch. It's whoever makes the big plays when it counts the most,
Yeah, and one interesting thing to think about with this game is this head coach, who I am drawing a blank on right now.
Didn't he used to be the head coach at
Montgomery Catholic?
Montgomery Catholic. Okay, yes. I was going to say that, but I wanted to make sure it was right.
Him and Kingston Pryor were scheduled to play Saraland last season. And if you remember, that game got canceled because of
it did get canceled.
Weather, stuff.
Was that this year or was that last year?
That was last year. Saraland also canceled a game this year against 7A Carver Birmingham?
Carver Montgomery.
Carver Montgomery, yeah.
Saraland didn't cancel it, though. Carver did.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Because Jeff Kelly, I've never really seen Jeff Kelly be like a big Twitter guy.
Right.
But he did that week.
He made it very clear.
Get him, Coach Kelly.
Yeah.
Get him. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a really good matchup. Looking forward to it. If I had to pick right now, I'm picking Saraland because number one, home field advantage. Number two, I think they're just rolling through the playoffs, doing what they do.
Kirk Johnson is the former Montgomery Catholic now.
He's the head coach of Benjamin Russell now. Was it last week that Saraland was down at one point?
Was that last week or 2 weeks ago when they played Spain Park? Because the Spain Park game went back and forth. I'm not sure if they got down against Pike Road. I think they kind of handled Pike Road.
I thought that when I was on the sideline at Vigor, they were saying the scores over the speaker system. I thought that when they said the score, I thought Saraland was down at one point, but maybe they weren't.
They might have been. I mean, I think they were down round one to Wetumpka for like a hot second, and then blew that game out. So whether they start slow or not.
You know what I'm starting to notice about some of our teams? They really just come out in the second half and absolutely just pour it on.
Well, I mean, Williamson, like, that was a 14-10 game going into half, I think, last week, and they came out and just ran roughshod over Montgomery Catholic.
And I think Saraland's kind of the same way. It gives me like Kirby Smart's Georgia teams vibes. Like, they are very much like a second half team. Like, they come out and just like don't pull any punches. And I kind of have seen that out of some of our Region 1 teams. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when we go over the halftime scores, I'm like, just wait.
It's always
just wait.
Yeah, and it's always fun to do that when you go in cold. You know, like I think last week you had already heard most of the scores because they were rattling them off at the Vigor game. So it's better when we do that when you go in cold because I like watching your reaction.
You like watching my reaction, but it's also nice to like. I like to be plugged into like what's going on and keep up with what's going on, but. I'm hoping that, like, when I come in for halftime, I'm happy about all the scores that I'm looking at, you know, because it's going to be interesting. The only ones that, like, I might be torn on is, like, the Williamson Vigor game and the Jackson St. Michael game. So,
well,
like, depending on what the, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just, like, other than that, like, as long as our Region 1 teams are winning, I'm like, woohoo!
Yeah, right.
I also think that it's really cool that we have 8 teams left? 7. I need to get my math right. We have 7 teams left. We went into last week with 9 teams and walked away with 7. I think that is huge. I don't know how that compares to last season when we were at this point, but really big deal. And the thing is like no matter what, in the 4A game between WS Neal and Jackson, like we were only going to be able to get 1. So I think with that also going against us, just for us to still have seven teams here in the semifinals, it's awesome.
Yes.
So I love that.
Congrats to WS Neal and Southern Choctaw, who both lost last week, but great seasons overall.
So I was just talking about how some of our region teams are second half teams. Mm-hmm. I think that could easily be said for our 3A team here in the semifinals.
Nice.
Bayside Academy.
Nice.
They were down 13-0 in the first half. Came back and won 30-13.
Scored 30 unanswered.
30 unanswered points in the second half. Brendan Yamani, Player of the Week. Absolutely got it done. And he even told me. So I talked to him yesterday for Player of the Week, and he said that he looked at the guys and he was like, "Y'all, we're down. Come on, it's time to It's time to switch it on." You know what I mean? And those guys locked in and they took care of business. And I feel like they handed it to Brendan and said, "Here you go. Help us handle it." And then Bayside's defense also to not allow them to score one time in the second half. I mean, that's a big deal. I don't know what Barrett Trotter said at halftime, but give me that speech when I'm feeling down. That's all I got to say.
Right. And this week they're taking on, I guess you could say, a team and a player that I think this podcast has adopted as an honorary Region 1 team in 13-year-old Kole Moody. And the Southside.
You just learned today that he was 13.
Yeah, I mean, I knew 8th grade, but I guess it didn't dawn on me that, like, I guess
when you're in 8th grade, you're 13? Well, that feels like that's young for an 8th grader.
His birthday must be in the summer or something because he's got to be going on 14.
Also, little kid. Like, what did you say?
5'7", like 150 pounds.
Yeah, 160 pounds, something like that. So we've been talking about Kole Moody since, 2 weeks ago? We talked about
when they played Cottage Hill. 2 weeks ago.
So 2 weeks ago, just in round 2 of the playoffs. So we've been telling y'all about Kole Moody for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Well, now all of a sudden, US Today and all these, everyone's picking up like what he's doing, and people are making videos about it. We told y'all 2 weeks ago.
We were here first.
We were the first.
Yeah.
We broke it to y'all. Maybe someone along the way got a catch of the podcast and what he was doing. But yeah, so Bayside, as good as they are, and I feel confident about them, they are going to have their hands full with this 13-year-old quarterback that can just absolutely sling it. I think that does he have 5,000 passing yards yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. It is absolutely absurd.
Yep.
Like, no one else that we're talking about in any of these previews when it comes to quarterbacks are even in the same category.
No.
Like, Gunnar Rivers is coming up on 3,000 passing yards
for the Davis Barnett in this game.
Yes, and Davis Barnett as well. But 5,000 passing yards in a season, and you're 13 years old. That is incredible, absolutely incredible. And now, part of me wants to be like, okay, who does Southside-Selma play against? Who are their opponents?
So I have heard from people who are more plugged in around the state that the region Southside is in is a little bit weaker than most. Okay, so these teams may not be as good as your typical like Region 1 team that you would play down here. But, you know, against Cottage Hill 2 weeks ago, one thing that I've heard a lot of people say is if you can get pressure on Moody, then you're good. Because apparently what they like to do is either just chunk the ball downfield or run it. So it's either he's either dropping back and just throwing it up to one of his receivers and they're going and getting it, or they're just running the ball for like 4 yards. Mm-hmm. Well, against Cottage Hill, Caleb Metzner and Shadarius Sudel couldn't get pressure on him. Like, they didn't get, I think they had 1 sack in that game and only like 2 hurries, I think. So,
they have a good O-line?
I think, I guess maybe they do, but I think this Bayside defense is better than Cottage Hill's defense. And I think if you look at what Bayside did against Mo Winston and Randolph County a couple weeks ago, you know, State's leading rusher held him to 11 yards on 10 carries. Bayside can lock in on defense when they need to. And so, you know, I think the Bayside corners are going to be tested by these receivers, but I think that defensive front can get after Moody enough to knock him out of rhythm. And, you know, Bayside's offense, I think they've been humming for weeks now, so I'm not worried about
the
Barnett.
killing calm.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
killing calm
them.
is coming. He ain't worried about no 13-year-old.
No, he's not.
Quarterback. And they got Billy Neal, Monroe Parton,
yes.
like names we talk about every week. They got the run game with Brendan Yamani. I mean, I don't know. Are you like, if I'm Bayside, am I intimidated by a 13-year-old that's throwing for that much? But
I mean, you're intimidated by. I think all of his receivers are really, really good, and I think you're intimidated by the fact, you know, one thing that they're going to be thinking about all week is this is the team that knocked us out of the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
you know,
revenge.
Yes, so I think all the motivation is on Bayside's side right now. You know, they've got a lot of seniors on this team. Obviously, Davis Barnett's a sophomore, but you know. Southside's future is bright. You know, Kole Moody ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and we still have another year with Davis Barnett. It's not like he's a senior and going to be leaving.
No, I know, but their defense has a lot of older guys on it. You know, so I'm rolling with the Admirals in this one. As much as I like Kole Moody and I like this story, I think Bayside is just really, really locked in right now.
Did you see? Okay, so Southside has a receiver named Cedric Simmons.
Yes.
Did you say this already?
No, I mentioned their receivers. But
okay,
yes,
Cedric Simmons is the first player in AHSAA history to top 2,000 receiving yards in a season.
Yeah.
So I mean, between Kole Moody and Cedric Simmons, I mean, they're both putting up record-breaking numbers this season. I mean, that's awesome. So they're going to have to be someone. That's going to be someone they're going to have to shut down. Bayside's defense is going to have to shut down. Did you? Okay, I'm looking at some of Kole Moody's other stuff. He had a state record 584-yard, 8 TD performance to close the regular season.
I think they put up like 70-something points in that game.
Holy crap! So they got Derek Searles, Derek Searles, something like that.
Searles, I believe.
Michael Hosea.
Jose,
Hosea.
Yeah.
Okay. You're better with the names than I am. And then Purdue commit, Amari Towns. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, Amari Towns, yes, he is the tight end. He is 6'6", 220. Big old dude. So. And
I'm always talking about Monroe Parton and everything he does on defense. I mean, he's a two-way guy. Like he plays on their offense as well.
Absolutely.
Committed to Wake Forest.
I think he has like 500 receiving yards or something like that.
530 yards, 8 touchdowns, 109 tackles, 9 tackles for loss on defense.
Yep.
So, yeah. And this is a top 5 matchup.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Southside is number 3 and Bayside's number 5. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one. I don't know. Has Bayside ever won a state title?
Nope.
They've
gone one time and got destroyed by. Oh man, hang on.
That's gonna bother you.
Yeah. Bayside football. Yes, they have gone once, and they got beat by, it was the 3A title when they had Phil Lazenby. Got beat by Piedmont 44-7.
Phil Lazenby's coached all over the place.
Well, he was at Bayside for a while.
But I'm trying to think what team I was looking up today. I was studying, and I saw his name as a head coach for a year, and I was like, what?
Probably Benjamin Russell.
Okay, that's exactly what it was.
Yep.
I was like, dang, there he is again.
Yep.
He's all over the place. I think he's at UMS now.
As like a special assistant or something?
I think he's like an assistant coach doing something. I don't know what position he might be coaching specifically.
Yeah. Well, good.
Interesting.
I'm glad he's got something going on.
When you've got knowledge like that, and it needs to go be spread and shared somewhere.
No doubt. Another guy for Bayside that we don't talk enough about. He's been one of my favorite players on their team. Corner, receiver, running back, Noah Kane.
Okay.
Yeah, 64 tackles on the year, 5 interceptions. He's also got over 1,300 all-purpose yards. He's one of the best returners in 3A. Just another one of those just dudes that they got, senior, that I think is going to be locked in. He plays with a lot of attitude. I really like his game. So another shout out there for the Admirals. I know we got some Admirals that like to listen to this podcast. So I'm picking Bayside this week.
Yeah, I'm picking Bayside too.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of no 13-year-old.
No. I do like the story, though.
No, it's a great story. It's a great story. But I'm very, very big on strength of schedule and who you play against and how those matchups look. I'm very big on that. And I think Bayside has played some very talented teams. And their only loss of the whole season was their season opener to St. Michael.
Yep.
And you're playing against the number one team in the state in 4A to open up your season. So I think that Bayside's really been battle tested, and I feel good about how they will fare here in the semifinals.
Yep.
So.
And all those seniors have revenge on their mind, which is a great motivator.
Absolutely. It's also like when you've really got like a lot of seniors on your team, your senior led team. Those guys, like, it could be their that game could potentially be the last time they ever get to put on a Bayside uniform. And it's like that for any team.
Absolutely.
These kids that are seniors, I mean, you're lucky enough to even make it to the postseason, but, like, you've gotten this far. Any chance you take the field, it could be the last time you ever get to do it. And I'm sure that not a single one of these kids is going to take this moment on Friday night for granted.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that when you've got a really senior-led heavy team. Because you've also got the younger guys that want to play for their captains and their leaders and for those seniors. You know what I mean? It means more. And a lot of these teams, and I think that's just how it is with high school football, a lot of these kids are really tight-knit. They're close. They're best friends. They're hanging out together outside of football. Like, it's just, I think high school football is one of the few places, and it is changing because of the transfer portal, but I do think it's one of those few places where, like, these guys really build long-time friendships. Like, they're tight-knit because they're together for longer amounts of time.
Yeah,
you know, because it's not to the same extent that college and NFL is. It's different. There's still something pure and magical about high school football.
Look at that.
I like to think. So, I just think it's going to be a great night. So we have one more game to talk about.
Yes,
Last,
this is probably definitely not least. This is probably the hardest game, I think, for us to pick. It is Leroy traveling to take on the Maplesville Red Devils, who beat McIntosh, our Region 1 team McIntosh, 2 weeks ago. Maplesville's defense is allowing 2.1 points per game right now.
Dang, the average went down?
Yeah.
It was like 2.5?
Yeah. Well, they haven't given up a point to a 1A team all year.
They haven't given up a single point here in the playoffs either?
No.
Jeez Louise, who'd they play last week?
Who'd
they play after McIntosh, I guess?
They played Southern Choctaw.
Okay, and knocked them out.
Yes.
Interesting.
They have not given up a single point to a 1A team all year.
Well, look, this is how I feel about this. McIntosh held Maplesville scoreless through the first quarter.
Yep.
Of that game. That's the first time that Maplesville has not scored in the first quarter all season long. So if Leroy can replicate what McIntosh did in the first quarter and distribute that over 4 quarters.
Well, here's the thing. Leroy Leroy is a different type of animal than Southern Choctaw is. You know, this Leroy team is really hot right now. Okay, they just hung 60 on McKenzie, who going into the playoffs we were like, okay, it's McKenzie, it's Maplesville, it's Leroy. And they just put 60 on them.
But what was the final? It was 60 to what, 22?
38.
38?
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Lowe is not happy about how many points.
About the 38.
About the 38.
Sure.
He's not happy about it at all.
But, you know, I think as impressive as this Maplesville's defense is, you know, and the numbers back it up, and they have all these crazy stats, 10 shutouts on the year, all this stuff, I think the Leroy offense is equally as impressive, and I think Leroy can score on this team and will score on this team. I think it'll just come down to whether the Leroy defense or the Maplesville offense shows up more. But I think the Maplesville defense is going to make plays, and I think Leroy is also going to be able to move the ball. So, you know, this is a heavyweight matchup. You know, this is a heavyweight 1A matchup, and these are the big games that you're going to have to win to get to the state finals. And, you know, like I said, Leroy's been playing very well right now. You know, Jace Sellers at quarterback, Jacavian Collins at running back. You know, they've been doing some really good stuff. So I am a slight lean towards Leroy, and I'm honestly, that's really just because they're our Region 1 team. I have no idea who's going to win this game.
I really do feel like Leroy's got it. Chandlo feels confident. Like, I think he's... I don't want to say he's going into as, like, oh, yeah, we're for sure going to win.
Right.
I just think he feels confident in his team and what they bring to the table. I mean, they won state titles in 2022 and 2023.
Yep.
They do not feel good about where they went out last season. I think that... They're also averaging, 47 points a game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
They're one of the best in the state, regardless of class, in terms of scoring.
Jay Sellers, almost 2,100 yards, 27 touchdowns. And you said Jacavian Collins, he's got, a little over 1,200 yards, 24 touchdowns. And then you've also got his receivers as well. We got Josh Reed, 921 yards, 12 touchdowns. Corey Yelder, I feel like that's a name I'm talking about every week, 817 yards, 9 touchdowns. And then he also leads the team with 4 interceptions on defense. So, I mean, you got a lot of these guys that are playing. It's 1A. They're going to play on both sides of the ball. But I don't know. I'm confident in Leroy, and I think that Chan also feels good about their defense.
Sure.
I think we don't get to talk enough about defense, but this is a name that he brought up today when we were talking. Braxton Roberts is like a really a name on their defense that Chan feels confident in, and Sawyer Sullivan. They both combined for more than 160 tackles, over 50 tackles for loss between them. I mean, as good as I feel, obviously Maplesville's not letting anybody score, but I mean, Chandlo feels confident in the defense that he's bringing to the table on Friday night. He also said that at the McKenzie game, the amount of Leroy fans that showed up, Leroy travels so well.
Yes.
I mean, he said it felt like a Leroy home game at some points in the game. I mean, he said you couldn't even walk. Everyone's bumping into each other. It was absolutely packed. And that's going to be the same thing this week. I mean, that's another thing that he and I also talked about. And you and I have said this before when it comes to 1A schools and Leroy in particular, but the fan base and the community and how bought in they are to this team and their support of this team. I mean, there's really nothing like it. I can't really compare it to anything anywhere else. I mean, we have great fan bases down here, but this is a small town, 1A school. It's just...
Yeah, it looks like it's just under about 2.5 hours to Maplesville from Leroy. So
it's not bad.
Not the worst drive in the world.
I drove an hour and 45 minutes up to Jackson this morning for a 10-minute soundbite.
Yeah.
I would drive 5 hours to go watch a football game of this caliber.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And you mentioned Jay Sellers. He's thrown for over 300 yards the last 2 games. Being able to throw the ball in 1A is not not very common, a lot of the time. A lot of times he seems like to run the ball. I talk about Southern Choctaw all the time. They are very much like they're going to run 8 different guys 10 times and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Leroy can drop back and be a traditional passing team, and that's just...
Yeah, Jace has an arm on him.
Yeah.
He's been our player of the week.
Yes.
And here in the playoffs.
Right, yeah. That's just really unique for a 1A team. So I think they're going to... I think they're going to be able to score on this Maplesville's defense. Maybe not much, but I think they'll be able to score enough to win. But that Maplesville defense, those numbers are stupid.
They're the number 1 team in the state in 1A, and they're the number 5 offense in the state.
Yeah.
I want to see where Leroy is, like what their defenses and offenses are ranked.
I think
you already closed your computer.
No, I know,
over
but
here.
I think last week when I looked at them, they were like 11th on defense. They're not like...
So they're not like ranked high in like offense or defense. They just...
Yeah, no, they're well, here, I'll tell you right here. So Leroy's offense is 5th.
Okay, not bad.
Maplesville's is 6th.
Okay, so Maplesville originally was the 5th ranked.
Leroy's defense is 10th.
Not horrible.
No. So we shall see, I guess. I'm rolling with the Bears, though.
I'm definitely rolling with the Bears.
One of our favorite teams here.
Absolutely. And it's not just because they feed us good when we go. Even though that food, shout out to Joshua, that is some of the best tailgate food I've had in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go against Grill Billy's because I love their ribs. But Joshua's ribs, I dream about them. I really do.
All right, Emily. Well, that wraps it up for the semifinals, yeah?
Yeah. I don't want to say yeah.
I know.
It makes me sad because, after this week... Then it's Super 7 time, and then Super 7 happens, and then it's over.
I think there's a pretty good chance we have a lot of teams to talk about next week, though.
Which makes me so incredibly happy. I hope that is the case. I would love to have... I think the most we've had was my first year here, or maybe my second, when we had Leroy, Gulf... Okay, it was 2023, so it was my second year.
Yeah, second year.
Yep, it was when we had Leroy... Mobile Christian, when Mobile Christian was still in 3A, we had Gulf Shores and we had Saraland.
Yep.
And they all won state titles.
Did Saraland?
Yeah. That was they won in 2022. That's their only state title.
Okay.
They went to the final game in 2023 and 2024 and lost in the championship.
I thought they lost to, who was the guy Ryan Williams does the podcast with?
It's Clay Chalkville. Clay Chalkville?
Clay Chalkville?
Yeah. That's who they lost to. At the goal line. Remember, he went to...
Right, in that state championship game, though, right?
That was in 2023.
I thought 23 was the year we had all those teams go.
I have to look at the metrics.
We'll get back to you.
I got to look at the numbers. But the year... we had 4.
We had a lot of teams go.
Won.
Yeah.
I just can't remember specifically what year that was.
It would have been 23 because that was like my first year here. I remember that. But I thought Saraland lost in that game.
There was a year. The year that those teams all went is the year Saraland won.
Now, 2022 was when you started, technically, and...
Hold up, I got to look at this.
I started late in 2022, so I don't remember who won state, but...
Maybe I'm just thinking of, okay, that's how many teams we had. We can't wrap up this podcast till I see this information.
We did have 4 teams go that year. I do remember that season.
Okay, maybe maybe Saraland lost that year. Oh, man, the ads on the Alabama high school football history page. We got to do something about that.
Yeah.
Do I need to pay for, a subscription to not have ads?
He should start a subscription service. I actually bet he could do something pretty good with that.
Can we have, special access? Please keep it free for us. Let me see. Let me look at that. I think Saraland must have... I thought they won their state title in 2022. But maybe I'm losing my mind, which is very possible.
I believe it was 2022.
Yeah, they did. They won in 2022.
Yep.
So the year that we had 4 teams go...
They went 3-1. But, we still had 4 teams go, which is a lot.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think that we have the chance for 5 teams to go and 5 teams to win.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I think would be awesome. You know what I would really hate to see? I would hate to see Saraland go to the state championship game and lose in the state championship game for the, Third straight year?
Third straight year,
Because
yeah.
they lost in 23, they lost in 24. This would be the this would be the third straight year that they would lose in the final game. Come on, Saraland, please. Please. Gosh. Yeah. You know what I'm really looking forward to? Like, after we see how this week goes, it's the send-offs.
Oh, yeah, those are always fun.
Those are always fun when all the fans and everybody shows up and they load up on the bus and everybody's cheering and it's just a good old time. I love those.
Yeah.
We got to make sure we have somebody out to every single one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and what a joy it would be if we have 5 teams going.
Hey, I think there's a good chance of it.
I absolutely have all the faith in the world in our Region 1 teams. Best of luck to you guys this week. We will have all the highlights on Friday. We do have college football on Fox that's going to start at like noon on Friday. It's going to run all throughout the day. I think we will be streaming the news at 9:30.
I think, yes, I believe so, yeah.
We'll be streaming the news. I want to say it's at 9.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they finish streaming the news, we're going to come on and do highlights.
Yeah, we'll have highlights.
We're I think do we have anything that we're getting from sister stations this week? Are we majority?
We need to check on the Leroy Maplesville game. That's the only one we're not sure about right now.
Okay. Other than that, we're the home field advantage this week. We got all our teams are pretty much here.
Got them all.
So yeah, make sure you have those push notifications turned on so you know when we're coming on, doing our previews on Friday. We have the halftime show at 8:30, and then of course all the highlights later on Friday night after the games come to an end. We're going to find out who's moving on to the Super 7 and whose season is going to be coming to an end. A heck of a playoff run for all of our teams so far, no matter what happens, but we are looking forward to all the action Friday night is sure to bring. I'm Emily Cochran. He's Robert Restano.
She's Emily Cochran.
He's Robert Restano. And we will see y'all on Friday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.